Alright, let me just introduce CSS. First, let's make an HTML file. So HTML tab. We'll call this X-Men. Let's do div tags. Give you or allow you to make to put your code in sections. So for this one, let's just do a title. Not X-Men. H1, and we'll call them X-Men. And then we'll do another group of, I don't know, okay, let's do Avengers. So this is Avengers, there we go. So we'll rename this to Superheroes. There we go. All right, and then how do we do a unordered list? UL, good. So we start with UL, and within the unordered list tags, what tags do we use? And remember from the HTML videos? Good, LI. LI stands for list item, and UL stands for unordered list. So, so what we can do to make this a little quicker is copy this and paste these down. All right, so give me some X-Men. Wolverine. What else? Cyclops. What else? Nightcrawler. Jean Grey. Who else? Professor X. Sure, he's been a member of the X-Men at one point or another. Who else? Storm. Beast. Alrighty, and then let's do the same thing with the Avengers. Alright, so who do we got? Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk. Who? Who? Oh, Black Widow. Gotcha. Who else? Who? Oh, Ant-Man. Is that one word? Like that? Or is it like Iron Man, 2 words? I don't know. One word, okay. What else? One more. Hawkeye? Hawkeye. Alrighty. So let's see what we got so far. Right click, open in browser. Okay. So there's our superheroes. Now let's add some styles to this. So like I said before, you could create a separate style sheet to put your CSS in. Up until after we're done with this first project, I'll have you guys do it inside the HTML. The same HTML file that you're working with, only because in the tutorial that you're going to watch, that's how he demos it. So I just want you to stick with that. That way you can experience what styling within the HTML page versus using external style sheet after it. So once you finish that project, I'll get into how to style using external style sheet. But for now, I'll kind of just stick with how the tutorial goes through it and do it within the HTML style sheet. So that's called embedded style sheet or embedded CSS or internal CSS, either way. Okay, so remember from what we just went over, you first need a selector. So let's cover the H1. Oh, I didn't do ULs. So let me fix this. I'll highlight all these LIs. That way I can press tab, and they all tab at the same time. And then I'll close out the unordered list. Save that. Okay, so let's style the titles first. So we'll do H1. And then you use a curly brace. And then from there, you can do your property. So in this case, let's do color. And then, what color should we make the titles? Blue. Control S to save, and then refresh. There we go. So now our titles are blue. Okay, good. Let's select the body. Curly brace again. And this time we'll do background. Notice when you type, it'll kind of start showing you some options. So you can always like figure out what you could do by typing. Background color. What should we make the background color? Use a semicolon to end your line. Okay. A little too dark with the blue, so let's choose a lighter color. Okay. Command S or Control S, and there we go. The X-Men of the 90s were famously using blue and yellow as their uniforms. And then they also had the Blue Strike Force and the Gold Strike Force. So, X-Men, Jim Lee, 90s. Yeah, this is a pretty popular image. But yes, so they were, even Wolverine had a blue and yellow costume. But, I don't know. Anyway. All right, so that's how you can style. Let's see what else can we do. Let me throw in some text. Actually, you know what I could do? Let's move this over and see how like this is kind of close to the edge. Let's see if we can move it over. So notice that all this text is inside these divs. So instead of selecting each line and trying to move each one of these over, what I'll do is select the div tag, and I'll give it a margin from the left side of the screen of 100 pixels. Save that, refresh. And there we go. So that's how you can move things on the screen. Let me throw in a couple images. X-Men. Images. What's that new movie called? Apocalypse. All right, this looks good. View image, copy. So I'll create a new div tag to put the images in. src. And I'll give it a width so that it's not too big, 250 pixels. Save, refresh, there we go. And then Avengers, Age of Ultron. Images, there we Same thing, img, tab, paste that link right in there, and then we'll do width equals 250 pixels. Cancel and refresh. Okay, good. So now, let's say I want to separate these two pictures to give them more distance between each other. So what I can do here is img, and instead of just saying margin left or picking a direction, I'm just going to do margin. And let's say I do 50 pixels. Save that and refresh. Okay, so the reason why I did that is because I want you to notice that when you just do margin, it's actually going to give a margin of 50 pixels to all four sides. So notice how before, let me control, or actually what I can do is comment this out. Command / next to the shift button above the Windows button, comment your code out. So now it acts like this particular code would be ignored by the browser. So now it's, how did I save it? Save, Control S, and then refresh. There we go. So again, when I uncomment that code, notice how these pictures move further away from this line here. And these two pictures also move further away from each other. So let me do that again. Control Z, and then Control S, and then refresh. So when you do just margin, it's doing 50 pixels on the top, left, bottom, and right. So if you want to be specific, or actually what you could do, I think you can do margin. And let's say you want to just do left and right and not top and bottom. I think it's 0px and then 50px. So Control S and refresh. There you go. So if you do two measurements, then the first one will be treated your margin for the top and bottom, and then the second one will be for the left and right. Or you can just be specific like we did with the divs and just do something like margin dash left or margin dash right.